live! And we're live! And we're live! SPSM is a suicide prevention social media chat. And we talk about suicide prevention, social media, technology, and innovation. We're really here to provide a unique social media experience. We're going to talk about this just a second.
I mean, but it means that it means diving in. And are you ready, Bart? Are you ready? Because I'm ready. I've been ready.
Time now.
Do you think everybody else is ready?
I think you're going to make them ready.
Yeah.
There's two really awesome things that I've got to touch on here. I think this rephrasing of the question of when is by far the most insightful piece of this, because it changes the way in which we would attempt to make an intervention. It totally changes the strategy, right? This is no longer like a long-term thing. You actually can reduce the window of when you really need to focus on this person and say, like, this is when they're actually at risk.
Hey, you didn't tell me this thing, and I'm like, what is this thing? And this thing was this thing, and it's happening, and I'm here.
I mean, we've known that physicians have a high suicide rate since 1858 in England. It was first discussed.
We don't see our doctors as human beings, right? And I think that's one of the things that really hit me is we see doctors as being these all-powerful, in control, and kind of the gatekeepers of our health, right?
So that sent me down the rabbit hole of creating a 200-page toolkit for all of our state grantees that would help them access data that they might find useful. I'm very excited about data.
We're going to help you not only figure out why, even if you don't understand Snapchat, but you're a professional in mental health care or in suicide prevention, why you should do this.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am, they like to refer to me on the show as Snapchatless.
They know this is leading with an increased risk of suicide. They've known this for a long time. They're physicians. They're aware of public health. They can read CDC reports and just having this minute. They know that, and they're doing something that can make you sick. And I mean, they have protocols for if you get an accidental needle stick, and the chances of that impairing your health versus the other thing is actually really a lot different. I'm just having that minute with numbers in my head.
The public outrage would be huge if people knew this was going on, right?
But there are areas where there's higher need, where there are higher health disparities, higher numbers of deaths and attempts. And those are the areas that we need to focus on first.
But it's not that they're low risk and then all of a sudden, boom, they skyrocket to high risk.
Because we're actually trying to predict an event, right, instead of a person.
One of the things as a clinician and a researcher that I have struggled with is that in some ways researchers do a much better job of being able to figure out what's going on with a group of people. But they've never been nearly as good as people are, individuals are, at sort of understanding the subtleties.
What's earth-shattering about this is it completely changes the strategy around communication.
Tony Wood, describe yourself real quick.
I do stuff and things and such.
So there is never enough money for suicide prevention. And so we have got to, as a field, get smart.
Oh my God!
In the United States alone, almost 42,000 people die by suicide every year. Many of those, of course, we don't have data on. We haven't had data on most of the people who've died. And the goal is to get this data because suicide is such an impactful public health problem, and for each individual, a really a life-altering tragedy, and we want to end that, and that's why we care this much about it.
But then Snapchat, I think, is really going to be awesome for causes in general like ours, especially with suicide prevention. We can get some movement and some engagement there. I think Snapchat is really cool, especially for our world, for the suicide prevention world, because young people.
That up and down, the noisy data, and we say, oh, that's error, it's noise. And what many of us are starting to think of now is, well, maybe it's not noise. Maybe that is the signal.
We're on the edge of understanding suicide in a way we never could before, and it will be lost survivors and people with lived experience who are really going to help us get the data that leads the way.
Data. It's because it's so useful. I'm so excited to be here because data, useful, important. Everybody should do this.
What are you?
That's what data does. It gives you information, and then you can change behavior.
And we'll talk about what SPSM punishment looks like on a different show. If you put an expert in social media like this and messaging like this, and put some support behind that, you could really generate a lot of attention and bring in money for our cause, right? Let's ramp up our game, folks, and let's move it up.